Hey, yeah, so it's another video, and I thought to create a video that explains how to create a frequently asked question component in an accordion style. So basically, an accordion style means you click on a question and then it toggles the visibility for of its answer, something like this. And basically, one question can be open at a time. So click on that question, the previous one closes while the second one opens, and yeah, that's like what we're going to be doing, and we're going to be controlling this with states using the useState hook. And yeah, we're going to be implementing transitions. As you can see, it opens and closes up nicely, which is smooth and chill. And like, this is an experience you want your users to have when they interact with your website, your application, your landing pages, and all. Yeah. So another thing is, you go through website nowadays and the frequently asked questions are being the answers are detailed. You notice there are links being added, there's formattings to the text, even sometimes there are code blocks and there are list elements and list items and all. And yeah, we're also going to explore how this can be possible by like we're going to explore how that can be very possible and easy to implement. So I'm going to replace, so we created a component and we're passing in an array of like frequently asked questions. So an array that has objects of like questions and answers. So I'm going to replace the array with like another array that has like more complex, yeah, that has detailed, yeah. And you notice like now we have more questions, and you notice what I mean. So you notice there is the bold text, there is links, and there is like list items, and in fact some even have like code blocks, which is really chill. Yeah, and like it really makes a lot of sense. You can even inline code blocks and all. So, and you notice these things on websites. So in case you want to implement something like this here, we're also going to like see how this is possible. Now let's look at the code that we have for this project. So I created a FAQ page. So this is a Next.js project. This is a Next.js project, and the package.json file. All you just need to know is that we're going to be using Tailwind CSS. I imported Lucid React, which is like a component, a library that lets you have access to icons. Really chill library. I love the library so much. And yeah, TypeScript. We're going to be making use of TypeScript. So in case you are you are working with like a React project and you're not using TypeScript, yeah, you can still follow along this tutorial. Anywhere where we like make use of TypeScript to define types, you can make use of prop types, yeah, because you actually have to define the types. If not, it's not going to work. Yeah, and that is that. And then we created a FAQ page, and yeah, it's just like an array, like I mentioned earlier, and like having objects, question and answer, question and answer, and yeah, that's all. We have no component. So now we have to go to the component folder. I created a component folder. Depending on how you manage your components in your project, I'm going to create a component. I'm going to call it FAQAccordion .tsx. So it's a TypeScript file. And yeah, we don't need this any longer. And yeah, remember I said it's a Next.js project, and we're going to be handling states with the useState hook. So this is a client component. And yeah, since I said we are going to be handling state, it just makes sense to import useState right away. Yep, install useState. And yeah, so straight up, let's create like the state, and this state is going to store the index of the currently selected that's the currently open frequently asked question. And then like, you know, your with set selected is like a function to update the selected state. Yeah, and the default value is going to be null. Let's set some types here. Either going to be a number or it's going to be a null value. Yeah, so it makes sense to set all of this. And then yeah, we can go straight into like writing the code, and I think it just makes sense to wrap this in a UL tag and an ordered list. And yeah, in this unordered list, so one thing you need to know, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be receiving an array of frequently asked questions now. So we have to like receive an array of frequently asked questions. I remember we're making use of TypeScript, so it makes sense to define the type. So this is going to be an object, and this object is going to have a question, which is a string, and an answer, which is a string. And yeah, so this is going to be an array of objects. So FAQ is going to be an array of the, yeah, something like this, which makes sense. Yeah, we can now come here and loop. So we're going to make use of the map method, and then the second parameter, which is an index. Since we don't have an ID, yeah, I'm going to take away all of this. Yeah, so we have the FAQ, which is each object in the array, and then an index, which is like second parameter you can pass to the map method. And yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to like define the list here. I am going to create another like a function which we're going to import, which we're going to make use of here. So just below here, we're going to define a function. Let's call it accordion item. Yeah, we're going to call it accordion item. Yeah, and this is going to take in a lot of props, but yeah, let's leave all of that now and just stop here. Yeah, so we're going to make use of that here, accordion item, and like into this function we need different things. Number one, this is a loop, so we need to define the key. We need to pass the key, which is the index. Then secondly, we need to pass each FAQ item. Remember, we have looped the array, so we need to pass in each object. That's like the question and the answer. So we need to declare FAQ. Then we also need to pass in the state, both the selected and the set selected. We need to pass it in. Set selected is to update the state, and selected is the value of the state. That is the index of the currently open FAQ. And then we also need to pass the index. Yeah, so we're going to pass all of this. Okay, so now coming back to this accordion item which we created. Now this accordion item is going to receive all of these props which we passed into the function. But first of all, we're going to define a TypeScript interface for like the props that we're passing into the accordion item function. So just like before, we're going to create an interface. Let's call it the accordion item props. And yeah, so basically FAQ, which is this, and we're using the interface we created earlier, because it has the question and the answer, and it's an object. And then selected, it's either a number or no. And then set selected is a function. Yeah, it's a function. Yeah, and which is either a number or no. Yeah, and then the index is a number, and then we're passing all of this here. We're passing all of that into this. So we're just gonna call FAQ. I'm trying to look for a way to make it, yeah, to write all of this for me. So we have FAQ selected, set selected, index, and then they are all using the accordion item props. Yeah, so now that we have all of this value, we can now like get straight on into like writing the actual the list item. Now the list item, so basically we need a button, and then like I think I would prefer, yeah, an AP tag. So the question and the answer. So the way it is currently, if we save our page, so I forgot to show you, this is the finished project. Now this is like what we're working on. Now if I reload this page, okay, nothing shows because we created a component and then we've not yet imported it into the page. So if we come here and import FAQAccordion, and then we can now come here and use the component, and then we pass in the array. Now when we save it and we'll go back to the page, so we'll see question answer, question answer, question answer for all of them. So now we can now go back to this page to start implementing everything that we need to do. Yeah, so getting started, in the button here, we're going to have the question. So we're going to have the FAQ.question. Remember FAQ as the question and the answer. So we're going to have FAQ.question, and here we're going to have FAQ.answer. So if we go back to the page, we're going to see the question, we're going to see the answer, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So let's add some basic styling, some very basic styling. So on the list, we can just add a border bottom. I think just the border bottom is chill. We're going to add a border bottom, and then on the button, we can add let's make it have a full width, let's make it flex, justify between, because we are going to add the icon, item center, since we're flexing the item. Then let's add gap top and bottom. Let's make the font quite bold, and yeah, this will do for now. Now we're going to bring in the icon. Now we're going to be making use of two icons, the plus and the minus. I'm going to import that from Lucid React. Import minus, and we're also going to import plus from Lucid React. Yep. And yeah, so I would like a better way to control this. So basically we're supposed to just come here and like declare I think it'll be plus first, and I can just give it a size of 20. That's like one chill thing with, yep, something like this. Is there a plus? Yeah, there's a plus, right? Yeah. So something like this. Then when you go to your code, we have the things that begin to take shape. So we have the plus, but since we're going to have like the plus and the minus, I think a better way to like define this would be to just come above here and just like create a constant, so an icon, and just say okay. So before I declare this, yeah, I would love to. I would love to create a variable that helps us check which frequently asked question, which question is currently open. And yeah, so I'm just going to create like a variable. Let's just say constant is open, and basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be comparing the selected, you remember the selected state is storing the index of the currently open frequently asked question. So we're going to be comparing the value of the selected state and then the index, the value of the selected state and the index, for us to know. Yeah, so if it is true, that means it's open is going to be true. And then we can now create like a icon and say if is open is true, then that means one of the question is open. If any of the question is open, then we want minus to be the icon that is displayed, and if it is false, then we want plus to be the icon. Then we can now come down here and replace plus with icon, and then we can now go back and we're going to have like plus. Then when it is clicked, it's going to change to minus. Now for us to do that, we have to come to our button and create like an on click. Sorry, let me just bring this down. So we have to create an on click event, and yeah, so this is just what we're going to do. We're going to set the selected state. So if it is clicked, if the question is already open, so when it is clicked, we want to change it to null. That means we are closing the question. And the other way around, if it is clicked when it is not open, then we want to like attach an index that's like the index of the currently clicked question and save it to the selected state. That sounds very confusing. But yeah, let's go to the output. And now when you click on it, the minus is going to show. When you click again, it's going to change to plus, click minus, plus, same for others, same for others. And you notice when you click on another one, the other one like changes to plus and all. Yeah, so that is that. But you will notice like the question is not disappearing, and that's because we've not yet controlled it with state. So we need to maybe wrap it around like, sorry. We need to wrap it around the is open. Yeah, we're gonna be like, if it is open, something like this. Yeah, something like this is going to control it. So now we have all the questions. Now when we click on it, the answer is going to display. When you click on it again, it disappears. It opens, it disappears, and all. But this does not make sense. It's we cannot see the transition and all. But yeah, I'm going to add a class here. So add like a PB of 10, a padding bottom. Yeah, so it makes sense, right? Yeah, we're gonna do that. But one thing you need to know is currently we're able to like implement the accordion, which is working to an extent. But yeah, it is not like perfectly working the way we want it to work. And now for us to control the transition that we want to come into effect, we need to make use of the useRef hook. Now what you may be asking, why are we going to make use of the useRef hook? Now this useRef hook, because we need a way to be able to know the height of the answer. That's the height that the answer element is. Let's go back to the code. We need a way to be able to know the height that this is taking, and then be able to apply transition So we are no longer going to be controlling it with the is open state. We're going to be using style and yeah. So I'm just going to, okay, first of all, let's bring in the useRef hook. And then now that we have the useRef hook, we're just going to initialize it here. So we can just initialize it here. Constant, let's call it the content ref. Yeah, and useRef. We're going to attach this to a div. So let's just say div element, and by default it's going to be null. So we're going to adjust this code and create a div. I'm going to create a div, and in this div we're going to have the p tag that displays the FAQAccordion just like before. You notice there's no much difference. Everything is still going to work like before. Okay, so we need to be able to know the height of this. I'm going to change this to a div. And then here we're going to attach the ref. Yeah, this we're going to attach it here. So basically we want to use this. So this content ref is going to store a reference to the div, so which we're going to be able to use to calculate the dynamic height of this div where the answer is, because this is actually a dynamic value. We cannot just specify. So normally we would have just specified an height and say, okay, 500 pixels, but some answers are short, some answers are long. So we don't just want to add code a value to the height. So we want to be able to use this ref to calculate the height that the answer is taking up for us to be able to, so okay, enough of the talk. Let's just go right into it. So I've attached this here, and now we are no longer going to be using. Okay, let's come to the div. We're going to add like style, and now this style we're going to use it to like define the height of so we're going to be like height. So if it is open, we want it to take the actual height of the content else, but if it is closed, we want the height to be set to 0. So if it is open, we want it to take the actual height of the content, which is this. Remember, you always like use the current and then you get the scroll height. And else we want it to be 0. Yeah, so let's check. We see, oh my god, we see everything is opened. Now this is happening because we need to come here and apply overflow of hidden. Now we can remove all of this for now, so we go one step at a time. So by applying overflow of hidden, all of that is going to disappear, and now overflow of hidden is just like hiding. Yeah, so all of that is going to disappear, and now when is open is true, the height of the content is going to like be active when you click on it. For example, now when I click on this, the height is like active, and like here we're able to see the content is active. We're able to see the content. So we're using another way to like display the content. Now you notice it's just like before, there's still no transition, and like now we can now apply the transition by applying like transition, the duration, just like the regular thing with Tailwind, and now it's going to like apply the transition, which makes the whole open and close effect smooth. I'm going to come here and apply a bottom of 10, padding bottom of 10, so making the question and answers to display better. So yeah, basically we've been able to implement the FAQAccordion, but there is still more things I would like to show you. For example, we may want a situation that when it's open, the question displays a different color, and this is the major reason why I defined this as a variable, so that we don't have to like be comparing this variable like everywhere. For example, here now would have had to be like if selected is equal to index, do this. Here also would have had to say if selected is equal to index, do this. But to avoid all of that, that is why I'm creating like this variable here. And why we're creating this variable is so that we don't have to like do some unnecessary conditions here. So we just like did this here, and like it just makes the whole process easy, because here would have had to be like doing something like if selected is equal to index, and then show minus, show plus, blah blah blah, like that. Yeah, so it just makes sense to do it this way. Now with all of this done, what I need to show you is let's adjust this so that we can be able to pass variables, and then we can now come here and declare a variable and be like, if it is open, want to change the text color, else we're going to like use a different text color. So now here you see if it is open, the text color is different. If it's open, text color is different. If it's closed, there's no color. Yeah, so you can always add all of that. Then we can also add like an over to the question. You can add like an over to the question somewhere here, that if you over want the color here, something like this, want the color to change, and you see it's also affecting the button. So there is a lot of things you can do to your component to make things really easy for you. Yeah, so to wrap up, one last thing I'm going to show you, like I explained with the demo, where like we saw questions and answers having like more information. Yeah, and so all of this comes from so coming back to our code, remember in this page we passed in the frequently asked questions. Now the answers are strings, but remember in JavaScript you can use like the backtick to declare strings, and then passing like variables and all, and basically that's like the whole vibe around like this. So I'm going to copy another file, can replace it. Yep. So now this is another frequently asked question array, and there is really nothing different, just that the answer this time around is having more information. We have like HTML tags within the back within the strings, right? Within the string. And this one, like, we have more HTML, the unordered list, the list. We even have like p tag, we have code blocks and all, which makes sense, right? But now if we save it and we go back to our code, you notice like the HTML is not rendering. And you begin to ask, why is the HTML not rendering? And yeah, in JavaScript we have this dangerously setting HTML, which is used to render HTML content safely within your code. So instead of having this, instead of having to pass this like this, we can just take off the closing div, can take it off like this, close the div this way, and then you dangerously set inner HTML. And yeah, this is like HTML content, and then we're setting the FAQ, right, dot answer. Yeah, when you set it this way and you go back, you notice that the HTML is now rendering perfectly. There is a link here. Yeah, the HTML is now rendering properly, but now what's left is the styling. The styling, we have no styling for all of this to like display them perfectly, to display the list item perfectly and all. So one way we can do this, we're making use of Tailwind, and Tailwind has this typography plugin, so which lets you like style. So it says it's a set of Prose classes that can be used to add beautiful typographic defaults to vanilla HTML. So for you to make use of it, you need to install it. So I'm going to go back to the code. There's the click. Yeah, and once you install it, then you can go to your plugins and add this. Go to tailwind.config.js file. Once you add that, that is all. Then you need to come here and add yeah. So you need to add this. Yep. To the class here. Once you do this and you go back to the page, which is here, you will notice that the styling is not implemented perfectly. But you notice the font size is quite large. It's quite large. I don't like it. So you can add your own styling. Yep. And why is it not taking shape? Okay. Oh, does that work? Yeah, this is actually supposed to work. Let me take this off. Okay. Yeah. So but this is weird, right? But yeah, we can just leave it that way. If this is like this, then we don't need to define this. Yep. Oh no, we need to. Yeah, we need to. Yeah, but yeah, you see the whole idea of like, yeah, you see the whole idea. Now we're able, the code will also like perfectly, yeah, display even the inline code and all. So in case if you also want to like do it for the question, you can easily do it for the question. Yeah, but you get the whole idea. We're in the sense that we're able to like add HTML, make the answers display better, and like, yeah, we have a whole component for implementing frequently asked questions. And then in our page, we're really not doing anything. We're just bringing in the array of frequently asked questions and we're passing it into the component, and that's all. Voila. And we have like our frequently asked question accordion implemented basically and simply. I'm going to be adding the link to a blog post which explains in details and also has like the complete code, so in case you want to copy the code and use it in your project, you really don't have to like do anything. All you just have to do is go to your project, create a component, copy this whole code, paste it to your component, go to any page you want to make use of the component, and just ensure you have Lucid React, or you replace the icon with an icon that is suits perfectly for your project, and you can adjust the styling on the component here. You can adjust the styling on the component here depending on how you want it, but you can like leave the functionalities. Yeah, so you don't like adjust the functionalities. Yeah, and yeah, and then in your page you just like call the function and you're good to go. So that's all I thought to explain in this video, and I hope you like this video. If you like this video, ensure to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and share this video with somebody. Cheers. Bye.